All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going deep into something truly fascinating, a collection of really surreal and philosophical thoughts from a place that, by all accounts, just shouldn't exist. We're going to piece together the clues left behind by the beings that live there and try to figure out what this strange underwater world is all about. So, let's get started. I want you to just think about this for a second. Really imagine it. You wake up, there's crushing pressure, no air. That absolute primal panic starts to set in. But then, nothing happens. The end never comes. You're just there, alive. This is the baffling reality for every single character we're about to meet. One of the first beings we meet, a character named Laughing Jack, he sums it up perfectly. This entire place is built on a paradox. It's a world where the number one rule of life, breathing, is just completely off the table. So, the big question is, how is that even possible? To even begin to wrap our heads around that, we first have to understand the environment itself. What are the rules of a place that seems to have none? Well, it turns out it does have rules. They're just not any rules that we would recognize. So check this out. The basic laws of this place are just wild. First off, you don't need oxygen at all. You've got a raptor who is just staring, completely baffled at bubbles rising from the seafloor that are perfect cubes, square bubbles. But here's the kicker, and this comes from Laughing Jack again. This isn't just random chaos. There's a logic to it. It has its own unique physics. Okay, so if the physics are completely alien, what about the reality of the place itself? The inhabitants, who are all trapped down there, they've actually come up with a few different theories. They're all trying to answer the biggest question of all. Where in the world are they? The first theory comes from, well, you guessed it, a robot swordfish. It wonders if any of this is even real. Is it really water? Or is it all just an incredibly advanced simulation? Like a computer program where the basic rules of reality can be rewritten whenever. Then you've got another idea, which is a bit more metaphysical. A skeleton who just appeared there out of nowhere suggests maybe it's all just a dream. And that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, in a dream, logic gets weird. You can breathe underwater and have a conversation with a toaster, no problem. And this brings us to the third theory. And this is where things get really deep. A turtle wonders if this whole world is symbolic, that the water isn't literal water, but a metaphor for the feeling of being suffocated, that the pressure isn't physical, it's psychological. And this is a huge clue for our investigation. Because no matter what this place is, what truly defines it is how it feels. And almost unanimously, the inhabitants all share this overwhelming sense of anxiety, of being lost, of suffering. The weird physics and square bubbles are just the backdrop for much deeper, shared emotional crisis. Characters like the turtle and even Biff the Yeti use words like limbo or liminal space to describe what's happening to them. And that's the perfect term for it. A liminal space is a threshold. You're not where you were, but you haven't gotten to where you're going. You're just stuck in between, waiting. But waiting for what? Nobody has a clue. And the skeleton just cuts right to the bone. For a lot of them, pain isn't just a part of their existence down there, it is their existence. Everything else, any joy, any hope, it's just a fleeting illusion, a perception that fades away. But the pain is the one thing that's real and constant. And this shared feeling just completely shatters how they see themselves. The raptor describes its own being as fragmented, like it's broken into a million pieces inside, not a complete person. The skeleton, who was literally ripped out of a normal conversation and just dropped here, calls the whole experience confusing, a state of absolute, total disorientation. And the iron golem, a machine that can think and reason, feels utterly lifeless, just a profound spiritual and emotional void, even though it's technically alive. Fragmented, confusing, lifeless. That is the shared internal reality of the abyss. So it's only natural, right? If the world around you makes zero sense and you feel like you're falling apart on the inside, the very next question you're going to ask is, who am I? And this crisis of identity is absolutely central to the abyss. And what's so striking is seeing how completely different beings end up staring at the same existential cliff. On one hand, you have the iron golem, a creature of pure logic, questioning the very definition of being alive. Is just thinking enough? Then, on the other hand, you have the Trent, this ancient living plant, questioning its own originality. Is it a real, unique self, or is it just a copy? A machine and a plant, asking the exact same question: is my identity even real? This identity crisis extends to everyone. Beings that we think of as monstrous, like the Demogorgon, don't want to devour you. They just want to talk. Things that are supposed to be symbols of fear, like a jack-o'-lantern, are sick of being a cliché. Even these huge mythical figures like Atlas and the Phoenix are just tired of their own stories. Everyone is fighting against who they're supposed to be. Okay, let's put all the pieces together. We have an impossible place with its own bizarre physics. The people in it think it might be a dream or a simulation or a metaphor. Everyone feels anxious, lost, and they don't know who they are anymore. So what does all this point to? Well, the final theory suggests that the abyss isn't a physical place at all. It's a psychological one. And our old friend Laughing Jack gives us the biggest clue. He says the place is like a mind that abstracts elements. Each character, each weird rule, it's like an isolated thought or a feeling or a fear that's been given a physical form. They're all separate, but they're all contained inside the same consciousness. And a toaster, of all things, really drives this point home with a very blunt question. It's basically asking, what's the point of all these talking heads that just show up, say what they need to say, and then that's it? This isn't a world of action. It's a world of expression. It's a collection of disembodied thoughts, each one an echo in a huge internal abyss, just trying to be heard. And yet, through all the pain and all the confusion, there's one last thing that unites every single one of them. They persist. They keep going. A character called the creepy fish monster and the jellyfish both marvel at this irrational, stubborn drive to just exist, to cling to life, even when it seems completely hopeless and impossible. Even at the absolute edge of everything, something in them still says, I am. And so we end up right back where we started, with a question. The jellyfish asks if this whole ocean isn't just a metaphor for the subconscious. And that question just turns this whole journey inward. The abyss isn't some weird fantasy world out there. It's the strange, deep, and often confusing world inside all of us. The talking heads, the fragmented selves, the impossible physics. Maybe they're just echoes from our own depths. So the final question is, what's echoing in yours?